Today I'll shoot for a world's record. Don't go away. Hello friends and welcome to Fat Guy Productions. I am Paul, coming to you as always from beautiful Las Vegas, Nevada. Indeed, today I will shoot for a world's record for the world's smallest die-cast car, Resto-Mod. The world's smallest Hot Wheels came out in 2017 in a set of 3 cars. The Twin Mill, the Bone Shaker, and the Roger Dodger. These cars are super small. They're no bigger than a quarter. They roll, they have the iconic detailing, and you can even now get a great track set to play with your race cars. I have several of these and love them, but my first and favorite is the Twin Mill, with one major fly in the ointment. For some reason, they painted the car in an opaque lime green. Now, I love lime green, but for a special version of such an iconic casting, it would seem to me the color needs to be iconic as well. And no color in the Hot Wheels catalog is more iconic than antifreeze. Today, I will attempt to do a resto-mod of this tiny toy by giving it an antifreeze facelift and detailing the car out. Someone call Guinness, because we're about to get started. So, I'll start by examining this tiny casting to determine a plan of attack. This is anything but your normal die cast, and as such, there are no rivets to drill out, and in fact, there's no visible means of connection between the base and the body. There seems to be a bit of a gap between the base and the body at the front of the car, so armed with my tiny screwdriver, I work it in with the hopes of popping the base off. Very quickly I see a white stress line forming where the front axle is, and I stop prying before I break it. I turn the car around to look at the back. While it's not as clear, I have no choice but to try to get into the base from the back of the car. So now, armed with a dental pick, I start to worm my way in between the base and the body. I'll say this for this car: it is built to last. For the life of me, I cannot get the base and body apart. The base is bending a lot, but not popping off. It's clearly connected in the middle, but man, it is hanging on for dear life. While trying to keep from cutting off a finger or two, I use my X-Acto to probe the connection, and it feels a bit pliable. So I start trying to cut it with the X-Acto knife. This is way harder than it seems, as it's a tough connection. The car is so small, and frankly, I really want to keep all of my fingers. Perseverance pays off, and I finally cut the base free from the body while maintaining all of my appendages. And now I can remove the body and see that the car has a sort of a post molded into the base, and that connects to a small hole in the body. I think there's some sort of an adhesive in there too. With the parts finally separated, I'll bend the base back into shape, and I'll clean up the rest of the original post. I'm going to need to glue this casting back together since the original post is now gone. The car is super simple, and it just has a base, wheels, and the body. A body, by the way, that is just begging to go swimming, a skinny style. So, Into the warm liquid goo goes this minuscule body. It is so small, there really isn't much excitement in the goo drop, but down it goes anyhow. Normally, I would keep myself busy with the base and glass and other parts, but that isn't needed here, so all I can do is wait it out. The next day I finally go to fish the minute body from the goo, but damned if I can find it. I tilt the jar and try to slide it to the bottom corner to no avail. This microscopic machine is defying me. I have a brainstorm and I look underneath the jar and I can spot the little bastard clinging to a bit of old paint on one side of the jar. So I can finally grab it and extract the casting from the goo. After a quick wash, I can now see what I have to deal with. I'll give this compact little car a quick pass with the brass bristle brush, and then I'll use dental picks to pluck away a few small bits of stubborn paint. I'm happy to see the casting has a kind of sparkly look to it. It seems to have a bit of a texture that I normally would sand away, but that's not going to happen today. And frankly, it might even just be a trick of the light. Either way, there's really nothing I can do about it, so I'll move ahead. Because this car will have a Spectraflame paint job, I want to get it as shiny as possible. So, with a buffing wheel and my rotary tool, I'll shine this little booger up with some flits and then give it a good cleaning. After the flits, a little buffing on a soft cloth, and I have a tiny little jewel. I don't think I could paint the windshield back in, so my thought was to make a decal for it instead. I wrapped a little bit of paper around the body and rubbed it down with my thumb to get an imprint of the shape. I then traced that with a pencil, scanned it, and made several versions in Adobe Illustrator and printed some samples on paper. I tried the samples, but it just doesn't look like this is going to work. I'll have to figure something else out. Well, I'm going to put aside thoughts of the windshield for now, and I'm going to head to the paint booth, because I am finally ready to put this paint on. There isn't any place to grab this diminutive casting, so I whittle a toothpick to fit in the hole in the base, and I wedge it in. It works, but just barely. But at least now I can mix up some antifreeze Spectraflame paint and begin to lay it down. My normal painting technique kind of works here, but ultimately I just need to go a bit heavy and get the color down. I have to say, it actually is looking great. I'm going to leave the car to dry for about 24 hours, and then before handling it, I'll give it about a 45-minute ride on my heating lamp. That way I make sure I don't put any fingerprints into the paint. I decided there was nothing for it but to paint the glass in, so I opted for some Tamiya flat black paint, as it would be easier to work with than gloss, and I didn't need to add anything to my problems. Surprisingly, it came out damn good for a shaky old man with bad eyes. There was some cleanup needed, but with a water-based paint over hardened Spectraflame, all I had to do was use the tip of a moistened toothpick and rub away any bad spots. It worked out great. Things are looking super so far, so now I can just clear coat this casting with my beloved clear from Brightvision. Once clear coated, it's actually starting to look like a Hot Wheel. And now, to bring it home. I put some Molotow chrome paint in a cup and paint in the gas cap in the rear, the intakes on the engines, and the exhaust. I'll leave the rest of the engine the Spectraflame green. I'll break out my Tamiya flat black again, and with that I'll paint in the fan belts, and I'll put a bit of black on the front of the blowers to intimate an opening, and damn, this is looking amazing. I'll let this sit for at least 24 hours before trying to finally put it back together. Obviously, this won't go back together the way it was from the factory. I'm going to have to glue it with my Gel Control CA. First, I'll do a test fit so I don't get any last-minute ugly surprises. Once I'm happy, I'll then lay the wheels into the base, and with a couple drops of the glue, I can press the base back onto the body, and I am now the proud holder of a world record Hot Wheel. Or at least I should be. Well, there you have it. The first and record-setting smallest Diecast Resto-Mod of a Hot Wheels twin mill. This was so much fun, and frankly, this is how these should have been painted at the factory. It looks so cool. I hope you love this build. If you do, please give it a thumbs up, click subscribe, and be sure to click the notification bell so you won't miss any other record attempts of mine. If you have any questions or comments, as always, please leave them down below. I love to talk with you guys. Well, that's it for today. Remember, it always seems impossible until it's done. Until next time, this is Paul from Fat Guy Productions saying, be good.